In this video, we will talk about the indirect function. So the indirect function is used to return a value reference from a given text string, which means it takes an input and point the address of it. You can consider this as hyperlinking that value. So suppose I have this example, and if I want the value present in this D4, one way I can use is equal to D4. So if I use is equal to D4, then it will return vegetables, as this D4 cell contains a text which is vegetables. But if I want to change this dynamically, if I want to say that if this D4 contains vegetable and if I change it D4 from, let's say, D4 to E4, then I want it to change it dynamically. Then I can use this indirect function. So let's change it to D4 again. Now let's use an indirect function. So is equals to indirect. Now I will provide this D4 and press enter. So it says vegetables, but now it is dynamic. So if I change this D4 to, let's say, E4, it returns baby. If I change it again to, let's say, F4, it returns fruits. So now this column or this cell is dynamic, and whenever I change this cell, it changes its value. So indirect functions are very useful. We can also use named ranges or named cells with indirect function. So suppose I have this named cell which is named as day, and if I want to use this day in an indirect function, and let's use is equals to indirect, and let's use this day. Now it says Monday. I have used this cell which contains day, which has the value Monday. So it output Monday. So just like named cell, I can also use named range. So for this D5 to D21, if I want to sum it, I can use is equal to D5 to D21. So sum D5 to D21 and press enter. Or I can even use this named range or the range with indirect function. So indirect, and if I use this D5 to D21 and press enter. I have not used the sum function here, so let's change this formula to sum. So let's use sum. Now let's complete it. Press enter. Now it outputs 12. But if I change this dynamic range, let's name it as DVDs. So this is the range. If I want to name it DVDs, this is H5 to H21. I can name it DVDs. Press enter. Now let's use is equals to sum indirect DVDs. Press enter. Now the sum is 4. Similarly, if I name another range, so if I have this baby and if I name it this range as baby, then this formula becomes dynamic, and if I want to change it from DVDs to baby, press enter, the output of this formula also changes. This is how you can use indirect function. It is very useful. Now we will move to the next function. Thank you.